Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Chicago PD needs to do something about this burgeoning romance before season 13. Chicago PD has given us plenty of interesting cases in season 12. We've gotten individual episodes that have highlighted the strengths of Kevin Atwater, LaRoyce Hawkins, and Dante Torres, Benjamin Levy Aguilar, and an overarching foe in the form of Charlie Reed, Sean Hatosy, but there is a story arc that fans have been desperately wanting more from. Hank Voight, Jason Begg, has never had a love interest on Chicago PD, and Assistant District Attorney Nina Chapman, Sarah Buse, may have finally broken through. The latter voiced her feelings for the veteran police officer in season 12, and the two have clearly shown that they care for one another. The thing is, very little has happened since this Chapman declaration, and we're almost finished with the season. Chicago PD has another month left before it wraps up season 12, but there's been shockingly little development between Voight and Chapman. We can understand and appreciate the desire to not rush their relationship, given how adverse Voight has been to getting involved with someone since the death of his wife, Camille. But come on, we need something to happen. This is not a case of writers and producers testing out the waters to see if fans like the new direction either. The general consensus online is that Chapman is a great match for Voight. She gets where he is coming from, she is similarly work-oriented and determined to bring down those she feels are bad, and she can relate to Voight in terms of loss. Both have suffered the death of people close to them. PD showrunner Gwen Sagan confirmed that Chapman will be playing a crucial role in the final stretch of the season. She has partnered with Voight in an effort to bring down Chief Deputy Reed. They both have a lot of stories together, sort of taking down Reed, and so she's a big part of that Sagan Notedo screen rant. She becomes a big factor, and we get to see a lot of her in the back end. It's not that we need the writers to rush through the courting process between Voight and Ada Chapman, assuming they do in fact get together. We just feel like the show should give fans a sort of narrative acknowledgement or minor development in their relationship before the season 12 final. It would be nice to know where these two stand before we have to wait months to see them again. That is, assuming PD gets renewed for a season 13. Chicago PD has never shied away from complicated relationships, especially the kind that simmer beneath the surface, threatening to explode at any moment. But as season 12 wrapped up, fans couldn't ignore the undeniable tension sparking between Officer Dan Torres and rookie officer Eva Moreno, a pairing that's equal parts unexpected and electric. If the writers don't step in and give this burgeoning romance some direction before season 13, they risk losing what could be one of the most compelling storylines the show has had in years. Let's be clear, Torres and Alva aren't your typical will-they-want-they couple. Their chemistry is quieter, more deliberate, rooted in subtle glances, mutual respect, and an unspoken understanding of the emotional burdens each carries. It's that slow burn dynamic that's rare to find in a show already so drenched in tension, gunfire, and hard moral lines. Eva Moreno was introduced as a wild card, fiery, confident, and a bit too eager to prove herself to Sergeant Voight. On paper, she's all ambition and sharp edges, but when she works alongside Torres, we see her drop the act. With him, she's real. It's in the way she listens, the way she lets her guard down without saying a word. And Torres, he's no stranger to keeping things close to the vest. But when Alva's around, he softens, if only slightly, the glimmer of a smile, the way he steps in before she even asks. These aren't just coincidences, they're breadcrumbs, and fans are following the trail with wide eyes and high hopes. The show has teased romance before. Burgess and Ruzek have been on an emotional roller coaster for nearly a decade, but Torres and Alva feel fresh. They represent a different kind of intimacy. Where Burgess and Ruzek are defined by their shared trauma and history, Torres and Alva are still writing theirs. There's potential to build something meaningful, something that contrasts with the chaotic love lives of their fellow officers. But here's the catch: Chicago PD has to act on this. If they wait too long, if they continue with the will-they-want-they routine without ever committing to a real arc, they'll miss the window. The show's fan base is sharp. They know when they're being strung along. And worse, they know when something genuine is being squandered. What makes this pairing even more critical is that it offers an emotional anchor for Torres, a character who desperately needs more development. Since his debut, we've gotten hints of his complicated past, his time in juvenile detention, his fierce loyalty, his internal struggle to balance the rules of the job with the rules of the streets. Ava, with her own insecurities masked by confidence, is the perfect mirror. She sees through his silence, and he sees through her bravado. Let them grow together, let them challenge each other. Imagine a storyline where the two are forced undercover, posing as a couple, a cliché, sure, but one that could be flipped on its head in Chicago PD's gritty style. The stakes could be high, the danger real, and somewhere amid the pretend kisses and late-night stakeouts, something raw and real could surface. We're not asking for a soap opera, we're asking for a slow-burning, high-stakes emotional arc that pays off. Alternatively, the writers could lean into the friction. Ava could be offered a promotion or reassignment that separates her from intelligence. Would she take it, knowing it might mean leaving Torres behind? Would he try to stop her? Or would they pretend nothing's happening between them at all, until it's too late? The beauty of this relationship is that it doesn't need to be over to be effective. A hand on a shoulder that lingers too long. A night where one of them shows up at the other's apartment after a particularly rough case. A case that puts one of their lives on the line, and the fallout afterward. The emotional threads are already there. They just need to be woven tighter. And from a broader narrative standpoint, this romance could also create a fascinating dynamic with Voight. If he catches wind of the connection, would he approve? Voight, ever the manipulator, might even use the relationship as leverage in ways that test both Torres and Ava's loyalty to the job and to each other. There's also the question of what this romance might mean for the team. Chicago PD has shown time and again how personal relationships within intelligence can complicate everything, from decision-making in the field to covering up mistakes. If Torres and Ava get involved and something goes wrong, what are the consequences? That tension, that risk, is exactly what would keep the audience hooked. At its core, Chicago PD is a show about choices, the difficult, often morally gray ones that define who we are. A romance between Torres and Ava wouldn't dilute that mission. If anything, it would deepen it. Because love, especially the kind that sneaks up on you, is messy. It challenges your priorities. It makes you vulnerable. And for characters like Torres and Ava, two people who've spent their lives building emotional armor, that vulnerability could be transformative. So, as the countdown to season 13 begins, the writers have a choice to make. They can lean into the heat they've already generated or let it fade into another missed opportunity. The fans are watching. The potential is undeniable. And if Chicago PD is bold enough to embrace it, this could be the romance that doesn't just raise eyebrows, it could raise the stakes for the entire series. Now's the time. Before the moment passes, before the spark dims, Chicago PD needs to do something about this burgeoning romance, before season 13 arrives and it's too late.